Lobby group Afriforum is demanding equal treatment for all coastal regions. The organization believes that the government is undermining the country's constitutional values by limiting access to beaches in the Eastern Cape and the Garden Route. Afriforum believes that this season is a perfect opportunity to give those who were badly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic an opportunity to recover. They're taking this matter now before the Pretoria division of the High Court. Monique Taute is the head of campaigns at Afriforum. Monique, good evening and thanks for your time. Firstly, what argument are you going to be bringing before the courts on this matter of the beaches?
So according to Afriforum, the limiting of access to beaches that are public property amounts to the restriction of a basic human right. And in terms of the Constitution, a basic human right such as freedom of movement can only be restricted if it is firstly justifiable, but secondly also if it is supported by generally accepted legislation. And the government can thus not have different regulations for different beaches, considering that it is not a legal principle with general acceptability. So that is our argument. We also believe that it is unconstitutional and discriminatory to close certain beaches given the enormous economic impact that will have on especially the coastal towns that have been suffering the whole year due to the lockdown regulations. So the December holiday is an opportunity to recover the economies to an extent, and the closing of beaches will only lead to immense, irreparable damage for the business people of these towns.
Are you calling for a complete reopening of all beaches, or are you leaning towards what government has said it's going to do in KZN, where on the big days, where they expect thousands of people out on the beaches, that they remain closed on those days given the COVID-19 concerns around social distancing?
We are calling for all beaches to open, but we agree that mass gatherings on beaches must be prohibited, seeing that no social distancing is maintained during these gatherings.
But how do you propose that that's going to be avoided? People going to the beach with their families, with their friends, might not necessarily be under the guise of a mass gathering, but one certainly can't control the numbers of people who will turn out on any given day.
Well, I think to visit a beach is a form of recreation that takes place outdoors, and people are exposed to the sun that contributes to a healthy immune system. The alternative is that people will return to places like shopping centres and restaurants that hold a much higher risk in spreading the virus.
So what I'm asking you, Monique, is the proposal that you're putting before court as an alternative when it comes to managing the numbers of people that could well turn out to beaches. I'm sure you've seen some of the videos of what we've seen out in KZN already of the crowds that are going to the beach.
So I think it's also important to mention that we are in our motion only wants to declare section 69(12) A, B, C, and D unconstitutional. The rest of the regulation 69 deals with mass gatherings and some of the issues that you are mentioning now. And we are not, our application is not saying that that is unconstitutional. So we support the government's measures to stop mass gatherings, as we have seen on the news. So we are not against that. What we are saying is, in general, as we've seen in the Eastern Cape and the Garden Route, saying that all beaches must be closed, that is unconstitutional. But looking at days where, like Christmas and New Year's Day, that we have seen mass gatherings happening, people not having a healthy social distance, we are not. Our court application is not saying that that is unconstitutional, and we agree that that should be controlled. So at all times, a healthy social distance should be maintained, and if it cannot be maintained, as in the case of this mass social gatherings, it should be prohibited.
When it comes to provinces like the Eastern Cape that were the ones to make the recommendations before the National Coronavirus Command Council, are you anticipating that they will be respondents in this matter?
We haven't heard anything back from them. We will be keeping the media and the public up to date in that regard. But our case will be heard next week on the 22nd of December.
All right. Any chances of you getting into this application with the Democratic Alliance? I know that they've also challenged the regulations around the beaches.
That will be a separate application. Our application is a different application from the DA's.
All right, fantastic. Thanks for joining us tonight. Monique Taute is the head of campaigns of Afriforum. As you heard, they're challenging then the blanket ban on beaches in several coastal towns.